Hello, today I'm going to talk to you about 3 risks that if you plan to make a move abroad that you will have to take. There are many more risks than 3, but these are the top 3. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you are already a subscriber, thank you. If you're new here and you enjoy content about life in France or moving abroad or finding the confidence and courage to live life on your terms, then this is your channel. Be sure to subscribe and click that notification bell so that each time I upload a video, you'll be notified. I'm Patricia Brooks, and in January of 2018, I left my job as a project manager in Richmond, Virginia, and I moved to the south of France. I took this huge risk, and recently I was reminded of it by somebody I was talking to, and he was just so interested in the fact that I had moved from the United States to France all by myself. And that was all he wanted to talk about. And it was nice at first, but then in the end it was like, I don't know. I don't feel like what I've done is that remarkable anymore. But boy, was it in the beginning. Now it's just normal to me. I did this thing and it feels so normal. And in doing this, there were 3 major hurdles or obstacles that I had to overcome, 3 risks, I call them, that I had to take. Now, when I say risks, you can not move forward in life if you don't take chances, right? And if you take risks that are calculated, where you've done your homework, where you've prepared, then I think that minimizes the chance that you'll have a bad outcome. And I think that is how I proceeded with my move abroad. So what are the 3 risks I'm talking about here? Now, the first one has to do with something that seems very simple, but many people find it challenging. And that is to decide once and for all that you are going to make a move abroad. I speak with so many people who have had a dream to live in a foreign country, and they have been thinking about it and planning and researching and thinking about it. And they haven't really made much progress toward it because at the end of the day, they have not put a line in the sand. They haven't decided that this is the thing they're actually going to do. They haven't said, yes, it's not going to be one day I move abroad, but in 2025, in the beginning of 2025, I'm going to make this a reality. And so now what are the things I need to put in place to make that happen? They haven't committed. And so that's the first risk you have to take. Because it is a risk, because once you do that, then you put yourself in a different category. Things start to feel a little bit more real. You start taking different kinds of action that are scary, right? But without that, you can dream about it, you can plan and think all day long, but until you've decided, yes, I'm moving abroad by X date, or my target date is X, before you've decided that I'm going to move to this particular country, it's more of a dream than a goal that you can truly work on. So deciding, making the decision, making the commitment is the first risk. All right. So that is risk number 1. And for me, there was a turning point for me in making that decision. And that was after I had figured out that I had enough savings to come on a visitor visa to France. I had decided at that point, it was like, oh, this is a done deal. What are the things I need to do? What do I need to get rid of? What does the timeline look like? And I was on fire. So it was from January to the following January that making that decision made it a reality. So it's really important to decide. The second risk that you have to take is on if you don't have access to a passport for that country or for the European Union or for the area that you are planning to move to, and you need a visa or a resident card, then the next risk you have to take is to apply for a visa. This is a scary proposition. Every time I go submit my paperwork, go to the appointment, it scares me, even though I've had multiple experiences with this. And I think the scary part of it is, will they turn me down? I'm asking permission to stay in another country longer term, and they have the right to turn me down. And so I think that makes it really scary. But in order to do that, unless you have another way, this is a risk you have to take. And some people are afraid to take it because they're afraid of getting turned down, or they're afraid that they won't have all the right paperwork. And so they have another decision to make, whether or not they pull the paperwork together themselves and apply for the visa on their own without the help of somebody who may know the ropes, or if they are going to hire somebody. And I recently had a conversation with a gentleman who wants to move to France, and he wants to come on the same visa that I came on. And so I shared my experience with him, and he had posted something in one of the Facebook groups that he was asking, do you know of this service that helps people get visas? And is it really even necessary? And so I commented to that, and we had a back and forth on Messenger. And at the end of the day, he kept asking me question after question that I felt I'd answered. I shared a resource, Foolproof French Visas book, that I think is very helpful. And if you're planning to move to France and you're uncertain about which visa or what the documents you need are, it's a very good reference book, and I'll put a link to that in the description. But I'd given him all of this information, and he kept saying, but I'm not sure I have enough money saved up. So for the visa I'm on now, there's no savings requirement, although having some savings to show that you can support you as you grow your business could be really helpful. And he kept saying, well, I don't know if I have enough money. And I said, well, if you are still unsure, you can always hire somebody to help you with that. And he came back to me with a response saying, oh, thank you for saying that. It really made me feel so much better, right? And there's not one perfect way to do it. I did it on my own. Some people hire somebody, but either way, there's a path to getting a visa in the end, and whatever makes you feel comfortable. For me, that wasn't the path I chose because I saw it as a project, and I'm a trained project manager. So I'm like, okay, these are the documents that are required. This is a little hazy. Let me do a little research on this. Let me do X, Y, and Z so that I feel confident when I go into the visa appointment. Because at the end of the day, you can hire somebody and they can help you make sure you've got all of the paperwork in order. But at the end of the day, it's you who's going to be going to the visa appointment, right? So that's a risk. That's a chance you have to take on yourself. And you might be saying, yeah, but what if I get turned down? Okay, what if you get turned down? Yes, it would not be a very happy day. I understand that. However, if you don't take the chance, you're not going to know whether or not you're going to be approved or not. And as I talk about taking risks, again, it's a calculated risk. So do you have all of your documentation in order? Have you hired somebody who is credible and who you trust to help you with the paperwork? And then move forward with that, right? Because not taking a risk only keeps you stuck. And if you get turned down for some reason, and if it's truly your dream and desire to live in this foreign country, then you can figure out what went wrong, what was missing, or what they were looking for that you did not supply. And then try again. I remember when I was in college, my junior year, I was studying economics. I was going to get my bachelor's in economics. And in order to do that, I needed to take 2 economics comprehensive exams. One in microeconomics, which was easy for me because it was logical. There were no crazy assumptions I had to make. I didn't have to suspend reality in order to make microeconomics work. But for macroeconomics, that was another story. And so I passed the microeconomics comprehensive exam with flying colors, but the macro exam, I failed. I remember it was a fall day, and I was sitting in my car, my red Hyundai Excel, and I was crying because I thought, I failed. And this means this is the end of my college career. That was what I thought. And when I was sitting in my car one of my dorm mates walked by, and she didn't stop or say anything to me, but later on she came by to find out what was wrong, and I told her, and she said, okay. And she went to the bookstore, got a nice little note card, and wrote a really nice note to me and left it on the corkboard on my door in the dorm room. And the note said something to the effect, we all have our ups and downs, and you know what? The next time that you take this exam, I know you're going to pass it. And in reading that, the next time made me realize, oh, you know what? I could do this again. This doesn't have to be the way the story ends. And so that's what I did, and I passed it, and got my economics degree. And it's something I don't think about often, but I thought that it was pertinent in this situation for you to hear a story where somebody had failed, but then realized they could tried again, and had success. All right. So that's the second risk that you will have to take. You'll have to face getting a visa. And then the third thing that you have to do, the third risk that you're going to have to take is after you've decided, after you've gone for your visa, after that's been approved, is to get on that plane or that boat or in that car and go to the country that you are now going to live in, right? There's always a chance that you can turn back. And I remember standing in line at Dulles International Airport. I was so early, nobody was in the area for like 3 hours because I was there so early. But I remember when I finally got a chance to stand in line, I remember I was overwhelmed with emotions. I was scared, I was happy, I was excited, I was uncertain, right? All this flood of emotion came over me. But it never once occurred to me to get out of line and go back to my home in Richmond, Virginia. It was just not the thing I was going to do, because for me, yes, it was risky to get on that plane and move to France, fly to France to live there, because who knew what lay in store for me? What would happen with my friends back at home? Would it stand the distance between us? Would I get there and not even like it and want to return home? So many different things could happen. But for me, taking that chance was the only thing that was possible, because not taking that chance, not taking that risk meant that I would have regrets, meant that I would not be able to satisfy what my soul was urging me to do. And that was to find a place and a situation that would allow me to expand and grow in ways that I couldn't if I'd stayed in Richmond, Virginia. Certainly, there could be things that I could do, but I don't think those things would have helped me grow in the way that I have living here in France over the last 6 years. I don't believe that I would be fluent in French. I don't believe that I would be working seriously on becoming fluent in Spanish now. I don't believe that I would have started a business, especially not with this niche, because I would not have had that experience. I would not have had taken the risk to go before the women that I serve in my program to help them to take the risks necessary so that they can finally start living their dream of living abroad, right? So for me, it was a risk, but it was far riskier to stay behind, right? Hopefully that makes sense. So which three of these risks feels the scariest to you? Let me know in the comments. All right. So if you have a dream of moving abroad, but feel a little bit of uncertainty, feel a little bit unsure of yourself, and you'd like help in kind of assessing where you are in the process and what your next steps should be, I'd love to have a conversation with you so that you can tell me where it is you want to move and why, and what are the things you find most challenging. And you and I can decide together whether or not our working together is the next step for you to help you to get to your dream country sooner and with more ease. Okay, so I look forward to that conversation. Check out the link in the description to schedule that time. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found this video interesting. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, subscribe, and I will see you again next time.